Okay, so this is part 7 of I'll Give You the Sun by Jandy Nelson. And so in this part of the book, we are going to pick up where we left off on Jude's narrative. So we just read the part where Jude believes her mom is with her in Guillermo Garcia's studio, and Garcia has just agreed to become Jude's mentor to build a stone project that Jude's ghost mom can't destroy. Okay, so I'll just read the last few lines. "Mom," I whisper, "I hear you. Every single night before I go to bed, I read this poem out aloud to her, wishing for this. Okay, down there?" I peer up into the unmasked face of Guillermo Garcia, who now looks like he just got out of the ocean, his black hair slicked back and dripping, a towel thrown over his shoulder. "I'm fine," I say to him, but I'm far from it. My mother's ghost spoke to me. She recited the poem back to me. She told me she loves me, still. I get to my feet. What must have I looked like? Squatting there on the floor, no cat in sight, totally lost, whispering to my dead mother. Guillermo Garcia's face now resembles the photos I saw online. Any one of his features would be dramatic. All of them together, it's a turf war, a rumble for territory. Nose against mouth against flashing eyes. I can't tell if he's grotesque or gorgeous. He's examining me too. Your bones, he touches his own cheek, are very delicate. You have the bird bones. His eyes drop, sweeping past my breast, landing with confusion somewhere in the middle of me. I look down, expecting the onion to be in plain view, or something else I forgot I was carrying for luck today. But it's not that. My t-shirt has risen up under my unzipped sweatshirt, and he's staring at my exposed midriff, my tattoo. He takes a step toward me, and without asking, lifts my shirt so he can see the whole image. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy. His hands holding up the fabric. I can feel the heat of his fingertips on my belly. My heart speeds up. This is inappropriate, right? I mean, he's old, a dad's age, except he sure doesn't seem like a dad. Then I see in his face that my stomach's about as interesting to him as a stretched canvas. He's mesmerized by my tattoo, not me. Not sure if I'm relieved or insulted. He meets my eyes, nods approval. "Raphael on the belly," he says. "Very nice." I can't help but smile. He does too. A week before Mom died, I spent every penny I'd ever saved on her. Zephyr knew this guy who tattooed underage kids. I chose Raphael's cherubs because they reminded me of Noah and Jude. More one than two. Plus they can fly. Mostly now I think I did it to piss off Mom, but I never even got to show it to her. How can people die when you're in a fight with them? When you're smack in the middle of hating them? When absolutely nothing between you two has been worked out? To reconcile with the family, pull it out of the bowl in a rain until full, then drink the rainwater the first moment the sun shines again. Months before she died, Mom and I went on a mother-daughter day to the city to see if I could improve our relationship. Over lunch, she told me she always felt like she was always, in her mind, looking for the mother who abandoned her. I wanted to tell her, yeah, me too. Guillermo motions for me to follow him, then stops at the entrance to the grand studio space, which, unlike the rest of the place, is sunlit and fairly tidy. He holds his hand up to the room of giants, my rocks, though I suppose you've met them already. I suppose I have met them, but not like this, towering above us like giants. I feel so puny, I say. Me too, like an ant. But you're their creator. Perhaps, he says. I don't know. Who knows? He's muttering something I can't hear, and conducting a symphony with his hands as he walks away from me, toward a counter that has a hot plate and a kettle on it. Hey, maybe you have Alice in Wonderland syndrome. I call after him, the idea taking hold of me. He turns. That's this totally new neurological condition where the scale of things gets distorted in the mind. Usually people who have it see everything teeny tiny, miniature people driving around in matchbox cars, that sort of thing. But it can happen like this too. I hold my hands out to the room as proof of my diagnosis. He does not seem to think he has Alice in Wonderland syndrome. circle the pair of lovers closest to me, brushing my fingers over their gritty, granular fresh. Then step between them and reach my hands up, wanting to climb up the giant love box. Maybe he's suffering from a different kind of syndrome after all. Love sickness, it would seem, if the repeating motif around this place is any indication. I keep my new diagnosis to myself as I join him at the counter. He's pouring water from the kettle through two filters poised over the mug and has begun singing to himself in Spanish. It occurs to me what an unfamiliar feeling is that's overtaking me. Well-being. At ease has graduated to a full-on sense of well-being. And maybe he's experiencing it too. What with the singing and all. Perhaps I could move in. I bring my sewing machine and that's it. I just have to dodge the English guy. Maybe it's near my son. A love child he didn't know about until recently, who grew up in England, yes. And he won't wrap for a moment. As promised, nectar of the gods, he says, placing the two steaming mugs on the table. I sit down on the red sofa beside him. Now we talk, yes. He joins me on the couch, as does his 8-man smell, but I don't even care. I don't even care that the sun's gonna burn out in a matter of years, ending all life on Earth. Well, 5 billion years. But still, guess what? I don't care. Well-being is a wonderful thing. He picks up a box of sugar on the table and proceeds to pour a ton into his mug, spilling as much. That's lucky, I say. What is? Spilling sugar. Spilling salt is bad luck, but sugar? I've heard that one before. He smiles, then whacks the box with the back of his hand so that it falls over and its contents spill onto the floor. There. I feel a surge of delight. I don't know if it counts if you do it on purpose. Of course it counts, he says, tapping a cigarette out of a crumpled pack left on the table, next to another one of those notepads. He leans back, lights up, inhales deeply. The smoke curls in the air between us. He's examining me again. I want you to know I hear what you say outside. About this. He places his hand on his chest. You were honest with me, so I be honest with you. He's looking into my eyes. It's dizzying. When you came the other day, I was not in good shape. I am not in good shape sometimes. I know I told you to go away. I don't know what else I say to you. I don't remember much. That whole week. He waves a cigarette in the air. But I tell you, I am not teaching anymore for a reason. I don't have it, the thing you need. I just don't have it. He takes a drag, exhales a long gray stream of smoke, then gestures at the giants. I am like them. Every day I think to myself, it happens. Finally I become the rock I carve. Me too, I blurt out. I am made of stone too. I thought that exact thing the other day. I think my whole family is. There's this disease called FOP. No, you are not made of stone, he interrupts. You do not have this disease called FOP, or any other disease called anything. He touches my cheek tenderly with his calloused fingers, leaves them there. Trust me, he says. If anyone knows this, it's me. His eyes become gentle. I'm swimming in them. It's suddenly so quiet inside me. I nod and he smiles and takes his hand away. I place mine where his was, not understanding what's going on. All I want is his hand back on my face. He stamps out the cigarette. I, however, am a different story. I have not taught in years. I will not, probably ever again. So, I wrap my arms around myself. I've been terribly mistaken. I thought when he invited me in for coffee, he was saying yes. I thought he was going to help me. My lungs feel like they're closing up. I only want to work now. A shadow has darkened his face. It is all I have. It is all I can do to... He doesn't finish, just stares off at the giants. They're the only ones I want to think about or care about. Understand? That's it. His voice has grown solemn, leaden. I stare down at my hands, disappointment pooling inside me, black and thick and hopeless. So, he continues, I think about this. Assume you're at CSA because you mentioned Sandy, yes? I nod. There's someone there. No, Ivan something. He's in that department. He can surely help you with this piece. He's in Italy, I say, my voice cracking. Oh no, how can this be? Now? Oh, not now, please. But it is now. For the first time in 2 years, tears are streaming down my cheeks. I wipe them away quickly, again and again. I understand, I say, getting up. Really? It's fine, it was a dumb idea. Thank you for the coffee. I have to get out of here. I have to stop crying. There's a solid building inside me, so immense and powerful, it's gonna break all my bird bones. It's Jude Mageddon. I keep my arms tightly fastened around my ribs as I make my trembling legs move across the bright sunny studio, through the mailroom and down the dark musty hallway, completely blinded from the contrast with his when his baritone voice stops me. This sculpture needs to be made so much you cry like this. I turn around. He's leaning against the wall by the painting of the kiss, his arms crossed. Yes, I gasp out. Then say more calmly, yes. Is he changing his mind? The sob begins to retreat. He's stroking his chin. His expression softens. You need to make this sculpture so badly, you will risk your young life by sharing space with a disease-carrying cat? Yes, totally yes. Please? You are sure you want to forsake the warm, moist breath of clay for the cold, unforgiving eternity of stone? I'm sure, whatever that means. Come back tomorrow afternoon, bring your portfolio and a sketch pad, and tell your brother to give you back the sun, trees, stars, all of it already. I think you need. You're saying yes? I am. I do not know why, but I am. I'm about to leap across the room and hug him. Oh no, he wags a finger at me. Do not look so happy. I tell you ahead of time, all my students despise me. I click Guillermo's front door shut, lean against it, not sure what happened to me in there. I feel disoriented, like I've been watching a movie or like I've just woken up from a dream. I thank and rethank the beautiful stone angel inside who granted my wish. There is the problem of my portfolio being full of broken bowls and blobs. There is also the problem that he said to bring a sketch pad and I can't sketch. I got a C in life drawing last year. Drawing is Noah's thing. Doesn't matter. He said yes. I look around, taking in Day Street, wide and tree-lined with a combination of dilapidated Victorians where college students live, warehouses, the occasional business, and the church. I'm letting the first sun we've seen this winter soak into my bones when I hear the screech of a motorcycle. I watch the adrenaline-happy driver who thinks he's at the Indy 500, boomerang at a turn at such an extreme angle that the side of the bike scrapes the street. Geez, no offense, but what a stupid, reckless idiot. Evel Knievel screeches once again, but to a halt this time, not even 15 feet from me, and takes off his helmet. Oh, of course. And its sunglasses. Someone call a medevac. Well, hello there, he says. The fallen angel has returned. He doesn't talk. He lilts his words, taking to the air like birds. And why do English people sound smarter than the rest of us, like they should be awarded the Nobel Prize for a simple greeting? I zip up my sweatshirt into my neck, but I can't seem to get the boy blinders on. Still a reckless idiot, yes, but damn, he looks fine, sitting on that bike on this sunny winter day. Guys like him really shouldn't be allowed on motorcycles. They should have to bounce around on pogo sticks, or better, hippity hops. And no hot guy should be allowed to have an English accent and drive a motorcycle. Not to mention wear the leather jacket or sport the cool shades. Hot guys should be forced into footy pajamas. Yes, yes, the boycott. Still, I like to say something this time so he doesn't think I'm a mute. Well, hello there, I offer, mimicking him exactly. English accent and all. Oh no, I feel my face flushing. Losing the accent, I quickly add, nice turn back there. Ah yes, he says, dismounting. I have a problem with impulse control, or so I'm quite frequently told. Great. 6 feet of bad luck and impulse control issues. I cross my arms like Guillermo. You probably have an underdeveloped frontal lobe. That's where self-control comes from. This cracks him up, makes his face go everywhere all at once. Well, thank you for the medical opinion. Much appreciated. I like that I made him laugh. A nice laugh, easy and friendly. Lovely, really. Not that I notice. Frankly, I also believe I have impulse control issues. Well, used to. Now I'm very much in control of things. So what kind of impulses can't you control? Not a one, I'm afraid. That's the problem. That is the problem. He's tailor-made to torture. I'm betting he's at least 18, betting he stands alone at parties, leaning against walls, knocking back shots while long-legged girls in fire engine red mini dresses think up to him. Granted, I haven't been to a lot of parties lately, but I have seen a lot of movies, and he's that guy. The lawless, solitary, hurricane-hearted, one who wreaks havoc, blowing through towns, through girls, through his own tragic, misunderstood life. A real bad boy. Not like the fake ones at my art school with their ink and piercings and trust funds and cigarettes from France. I bet he just got out of jail. I decide to pursue his condition as it falls under medical research, not because I'm fascinated by him or flirting with him or anything like that. I say, meaning if you were in the room with the button, the end of the world nuclear bomb button, just you and it, man and button, you'd press it. Just like that? He laughs that wonderful, easy laugh again. Kapow, he says, illustrating the explosion with his hands. Kapow is right. I watch as he locks his helmet on the back of his bike, then detaches a camera bag from the handlebars. The camera. I had an instant Pavlovian response to it, remembering how I'd felt sitting in the church with him, looking at me through. I dropped my gaze to the ground, wishing my pale skin didn't blush so easily. So what's your business with the rock star, he asks. Let me guess. You want him to mentor you, like every other female art studio from the Institute. Okay, that was snide. And does he think I go to the Institute in the city? That I'm in college? He agreed to mentor me, I replied triumphantly, not appreciating the innuendo. No other art student, female or not, needs his help like I do, to make things right with their dead mother. This is a very unique situation. Is that right? He's out of his head, pleased. Well done. I'm back in the spotlight of his gaze, and having the same sense of vertigo I did in the church. I just can't believe it. Well done, you. It's been a very, very long time since he's taken on a student. This makes me nervous. As does he. Kapow, kaboom, kaput. Time to go, which involves moving the legs. Move the legs, Jude. Got lucky, I say, trying not to trip over my own feet as I pass him, my hands deep in my sweatshirt pockets, the one wrapped around the onion, the other around a bag of herbs that promise protection. I say, you should really trade in the thing for a hippity hop. Much safer. For the female gender, I don't add. What's a hippity hop? He says to my retreating back. I don't notice how incredibly cute the words hippity hop sound coming out of his mouth with that accent. Without turning around, I reply, a large, round, rubber animal you bounce around on. You hold on to the ears. Oh, of course, a space hopper then. He laughs. We call them space hoppers in England. I had a green one. He yells after me, a dinosaur named Godzilla. I was a very original thinker. Mine was a purple horse named Pony. I was also an original thinker. Well, nice seeing you again, whoever you are. The photos of you are brilliant. I stopped by the church a few times looking for you. Thought you might want to see them. He was looking for me? I don't turn around. My cheeks are burning up. A few times? Be cool. Keep cool. I take a breath, and with my back still to him, I raise my hand and wave by, exactly like he did that day in the church. He laughs again. Oh, Clark Gable. Then I hear, hey, wait a minute. I consider ignoring this, but I can't resist the impulse. You see? And I turn around. Just realized I have an extra, he says, pulling an orange out of the pocket of his leather jacket. He tosses it to me. He's gotta be kidding. Is this really happening? The orange, as in the anti-lemon? If a boy gives a girl an orange, her love for him will multiply. I catch it in my open palm. Oh, no, you don't, I say, tossing it right back to him. Odd response, he says, catching it. Definitely an odd response. I think I'll try again. Would you like an orange? I have an extra. I'd like to give you the orange, actually. One of his eyebrows arches. Well, yes, that's fine and good, but it's not yours to bloody give. He holds it up, smiling. This is my orange. Is it possible I found the only two people in Lost Cove I amuse rather than disturb? How about this? I say, you give it to me and I'll give it back to you. Sound acceptable? And yes, I'm flirting, but this is necessary. And wow, it's like riding a bicycle. All right then. He walks up to me close, so close I could reach up and trace the scars with my finger if I wanted them to. They're like two hastily sewn seams. I see that his brown eye has a splash of green in it, and the green one a splash of brown, like Cézanne painted them, impressionist eyes, and his lashes are black as soot, exquisite. He's so close I could run my fingers through his shiny, tangly brown hair, run them across the faint, spidery wrinkles that fan out his temples, across the dark worrying shadows beneath. I know their faces. Oh, across his red satiny lips. I don't think other guys' lips are this red. And I know their faces aren't this colorful, this vivid, this lived in, this superbly off-kilter, this brimming with dark, unpredictable music. Not that I notice. Nor that he's regarding my face with the same intensity I am his. We're two paintings staring at each other across the room. A painting I've seen before, I'm sure of it. But where and when? If I'd met this guy, I'd remember. Maybe he looks like an actor I've seen in a movie. Or some musician. He definitely has bass player hair. For the record, breathing is overrated. The brain can go 6 whole minutes without oxygen. I'm at 3 airless minutes when he says, well then, the matter at hand. He holds up the orange. Would you like an orange, whoever you are? Yes, thank you. And now I'd like to give you an orange, whoever you are. No thank you, he says, slipping his hands in his pocket. I have another. All holy hell breaks loose on his face as it erupts into a smile, and then in a flash he's up the path, the steps, and in the studio. Not so fast, Betty. I walk over to his motorcycle, slip the orange into the helmet, then use all my self-control not to burst into song. He went into the church looking for me. A few times. Probably to tell me what he meant that day when he said, you're her. I head home, kicking myself because I got so flustered. I didn't even think to ask what his name is, or his relationship. I didn't even think to ask what his relationship to Rockstar is, or his name, or how old he is, or who his favorite photographer is, or snap out of it. I stop walking, remembering. The boycott is no lark. It's a necessity. I can't forget that. I can't, especially not today on the anniversary of the accident. Not any day. If bad luck knows who you are, become someone else. What I need to do is make the sculpture and try to make things right with my mother. What I need to do is wish with my hands. What I must do is eat every last leaven in Lost Cove by morning. It's the next afternoon, and I'm hurrying down the grimy fungal hallway in Guillermo Garcia's studio because no one came to the door when I knocked. I'm sweating and nervous and reconsidering the last 16 years. Under my arm is my CSA portfolio of broken blobs and bowls. The only reason I even have a portfolio is because we're required to take a progression of pictures of every piece we make. My progressions are insane. Certainly not an advertisement of ability, more like an accounting of a ceramic shop after an earthquake. Right before I enter the mailroom, I hear the English accented voice, and a whole percussion section bursts into life in my chest. I back against the wall, try to silence the pounding. I was hoping he wouldn't be here, and hoping he would be, and hoping I'd stopped hoping he would be. However, I've come prepared. Carrying a burnt candle stub will extinguish feelings of love, should they arise. Front left pocket. Soak a mirror in vinegar to detect unwanted attention. Back pocket. To change the leanings of the heart. Wear a wasp nest on the head. Not this desperate, yet. Alas, perhaps I'm not prepared for this. Sex noises. Unmistakable sex noises. Moaning and groaning and obscene murmurings. Is this why nobody answered the door? In an English accent, I hear, "Holy Christ, so good. God, so good. Better than any drug. I mean any. Better than anything." Followed by a long drawl of a moan. Then a deeper groan, which must be Guillermo's, because they're lovers. Of course, how stupid could I be? The English guy is Guillermo's boyfriend, not his long-lost son. But he sure seemed straight when he was taking pictures of me in church, and when he was talking to me outside the studio yesterday, too. So attentive. Did I misread him? Or maybe he's bi? And what about all Guillermo's hyper-heterosexual artwork? I try not to judge, but cradle rob much. There's probably a quarter century between them. Should I leave? They seem to have settled down and are now just bantering back and forth. I listen closely. The English guy is trying to convince Guillermo to get tips to go to some type of sauna with him later this afternoon. Definitely gay. Good. This is great news, actually. The boycott will be a snap to maintain. Oranges or no oranges. I make a bunch of noise, stamping on the floor, clearing my throat several times, a few more stomps, then step around the corner. In front of me is a fully clothed Guillermo and a fully clothed English guy on opposite sides of a chessboard. There's no indication that they were just in the throes of passion. Each has a half-eaten donut in his hand. Very clever, aren't we? The English guy says to me at once. Never would have suspected you of such subterfuge, whoever you are. With his free hand, he reaches into the messenger bag resting beside him and pulls out the orange. In a flash, it's airborne. Then in my hand, and his face is broken into 5 million pieces of happiness. Nice catch, he says. Victorious, he takes a bite of donut, then moans theatrically. Okay, not gay, not lovers. They just both appear to like donuts more than your average bear. And what am I going to do now? Because my invisibility uniform doesn't seem to work with this guy. And ditto the vinegar-soaked mirror and extinguish the candle stub. I stuff the orange in with the onion and pull my cap down. Guillermo gives me a curious look. So you've already met the resident guru. Oscar is trying to lighten me as usual. Oscar. He has a name and it's Oscar. Not that I care, though I do like the way Guillermo says it. Oscar. Guillermo continues. Every day, something else. Today, it's Bikram yoga. Ah, the sauna. You know this yoga? He asks me. I know that's a real lot of bacteria in one hot, sweaty room, I tell Guillermo. He drops his head back and laughs heartily. She is so crazy with the germs. Oscar. She thinks Frida Kahlo is going to kill me. This relaxes me. He relaxes me. Who would have thought Guillermo Garcia, the rock star of the sculptor world, would have this soothing effect on me? Maybe he's the meadow. A surprised look has crossed Oscar's face as he studies Guillermo, then me. So how did the two of you meet? He asks. I rest my portfolio and bag against an easy chair that's smothered in unopened mail. He caught me on the fire escape, spying on him. Oscar's eyes widen, but his attention's back on the chessboard. He moves a piece. And you're still sentient? Impressive. He pops the remaining piece of donut in his mouth and closes his eyes as he chews. I can see the rapture taking him over. Jesus, that must be some donut. I teared my eyes off him. Hard to do. She won me over, Guillermo says, while studying Oscar's move. Like you won me over, Oscar, long time ago. His face darkens. Ay, cabron. He starts muttering in Spanish as he nudges a piece forward. G saved my life, Oscar says with affection. And checkmate, mate. He leans back on his chair, balancing on the rear leg, says, I hear they're giving lessons down at the senior center. Guillermo groans, for the first time, not donut related, and flips the board so pieces go flying in every direction. I kill you in your sleep, he says, which makes Oscar laugh. Then Guillermo picks up a white bakery bag and holds it out to me. I decline, way too nervous to eat. The road of excess leads to the palace of wisdom. Oscar says to me, still balancing on the back legs of his chair. William Blake. Yes, very good. One of your 12 steps, I'll score. I look at a score. Is he an AA? I didn't know you can be an alcoholic if you weren't old. Or maybe he's an NA. Didn't he just say something about no drug being as good as that donut? Is he a drug addict? He did say he has impulse control issues. Indeed, Oscar says with a smile. The step known only in a crowd. The step known only to the in crowd. How did you save his life? I ask Guillermo, dying to know. But it's Oscar who answers. He found me half dead from pills and booze in the park and somehow recognized me. According to him, I hoist Oscar over my shoulders like a deer. He slipped into a perfect Guillermo Garcia impersonation that includes hand gestures, and I carry him across town like Superman and deposit him in the loft. He turns back into himself. All I know is I woke up with G's monstrous face in mine. He laughs his god-awful laugh and had no idea how it had gotten there. It was mad. He started barking orders at me right away. Told me I could stay here if I got clean. Ordered me to go to 2 meetings a day. Understand, Oscar? The NA in the morning, the AA in the evening. Then, maybe because I'm English, I don't know, he quoted Winston Churchill. If you're going through hell, keep going. Understand, Oscar? Morning, noon, and night. He said this to me. If you're going through hell, keep going. So I did. I kept going, and now I'm at university and not dead in a ditch somewhere. And that is how he saved my life. Highly abridged and sanitized. It was hell. And that is why there are several lifetimes in Oscar's face. And he is in college. I glanced down at my sneakers, thinking about that Churchill quote. What if there was a time when I was going through hell too, but I didn't have enough courage to keep going? So I just stopped, pressed pause. What if I'm still on pause? Guillermo says, and to thank me for saving his life, he beat me on chess every single day since. I look at the two of them mirroring each other across the table and realize they are father and son, just not by blood. I didn't know that family members could find each other, choose each other like they have. I love the idea, and I'd like to trade in Dad and Noah for these two. Guillermo shakes the bag at me. Your first lesson. My studio is not a democracy. Have a donut. I walk over and peek into the bag. The smell almost makes my knees give out. They weren't exaggerating. Wow, I hear myself say. They both smile. I choose one. It's not covered in chocolate, but drowned in it. And it's still warm. $10 says you can't eat that donut without moaning, Oscar says. Or closing your eyes. He looks at me in a way that causes a minor cerebral hemorrhage. Actually, let's say 20. I remember how much you got in front of that camera. Actually, let's say 20. I remember how you got in front of the camera. He knew how I'd felt that day in the church. He holds out his hand to seal the bet. I shake it, and quite sure I experience close to a lethal dose of electricity. I'm in trouble. No time to dwell, though. Guillermo and Garcia are giving the show before them, me, their undivided attention. How did I get into this? Tentatively, I lift the donut to my mouth. I take a small bite, and despite the fact that all I want to do is close my eyes and moan a porn soundtrack, I resist. Oh, it's harder than I thought. The second bite is bigger and brings joy to each cell in my body. This is the kind of thing you should only do in private, not with a Guillermo and an Oscar staring you down, both of them with arms crossed and very superior expressions on their faces. I'm going to have to up the ante. I have a bevy of horrific diseases to choose from, don't I? Diseases to imagine in vivid, moan-repressing detail. Skin conditions are the worst. So there's this disease, I tell them, taking a bite, called tungiasis, where fleas burrow and lay eggs beneath your skin, and you can see them hatching and moving around under there, all over your body. I take in their appalled expressions. 3 bites down. Remarkable. even with the fleas, Guillermo says to Oscar. She doesn't have a prayer, he replies. I bring up the heavy artillery. There was this Indonesian fisherman, I tell them. He's called the Tree Man because he had such a severe case of human papillomavirus that the skin that 13 pounds of horn-like warts had to be removed from his body. I make eye contact with one, then the other. Repeat. 13 pounds of warts. I relate the way the poor tree man's extremities hung from him like gnarled trunks, and with that disturbing image firmly planted in my head, I'm pumped, confident, and take a bigger bite. But it's the wrong move. The rich, warm chocolate takes over my mouth, erases my mind, spinning me into a strait of transcendence. Tree man or not, I'm defenseless, and the next thing I know, my eyes are closed and out of my mouth explodes, oh my God, what's in this? I take another bite, then unleash a moan so obscene I can't believe it came out of me. Oscar laughs. Guillermo, equally pleased, says, there it is. The government should use Dwyer's Donuts to control our minds. I dredge a crumpled $20 bill from my jeans pocket, but Oscar holds up a hand. First loss on the house. Guillermo pulls up a chair for me. It feels like being admitted to a club, then holds the bag out. We each take another donut, and the three of us proceed to visit with the Clark Gable. After, Guillermo slaps his thighs with his hands and says, okay, CJ, now we get to it. I leave a message for Sandy this morning on his voicemail. I tell him I agree to do studio credit for your winter term. He stands. Thank you. This is so amazing. I stand, too, feeling jittery, wishing we could just sit around and eat donuts all afternoon. But how? I realized last night I hadn't told him my name. He registers my surprise. Oh, Sandy leave a message on the machine, a garbled message. I kicked that old one too many times. Said a CJ wanted to work in stone. That is all I understand. Days ago he called. I did not check until today. CJ, Oscar says like it's a revelation. I'm about to tell him my real name, then decide not to. Maybe for once I don't have to be Diana Sweetwine's poor motherless daughter. Frida Kahlo sinks into the room and pads over to Oscar, curling around his leg. He picks her up and she nuzzles her nose into his neck, purring like a turbine. I have a way with the ladies, he says next to me, stroking Frida under her chin with his index finger. I wouldn't notice. I say, I'm on a boycott. He lifts his green and brown Cezanne eyes. His eyelashes are so black they look wet. A boycott, he asks? A boy boycott. Really, he says with a grin. I'd take that as a challenge. Help. Behave, Oscar, okay? Guillermo berates. Okay, he says to me. Now we find out what you are made of. Ready? My legs go weak. I'm made of fraud. And Guillermo's about to realize. He puts a hand on Oscar's shoulders. I have to meet Sophia in 2 hours, Oscar says. That work? Sophia? Who's Sophia? Not that I care. In the slightest. But who is she? And work for what? Oscar starts taking off his clothes. I repeat, Oscar is taking off his clothes. My mind's racing and my hands are swampy as Oscar's cool violet bowling shirt is now strewn across the back of a chair, and his chest is sinewy and beautiful, his muscles long and taut and defined. His skin is smooth and tanned. Not that I notice. There's a tattoo of Sagittarius on his left bicep, and what looks like a Franz Marc blue horse on his right shoulder that twists all the way up his neck. Now he's unfastening the button of his jeans. What are you doing? I ask, panicking, imagining the relaxing effing meadow. Getting ready, he says matter-of-factly. Getting ready for what? I ask his bare butt as he struts in that slow summer way of his across the room and grabs a blue robe from a hook on the wall next to the smocks. He swings it over his shoulder and heads down the hall. Oh, duh, got it. Guillermo tries to hold back a smile. Fails. He shrugs. All models. They are the exhibitionists, he says lightly. I nod, flushing. We have to put up with them. Oscar is very good, very graceful, much expression. He frames his own face with his hand. We are going to draw together, but first I see the portfolio. When Guillermo said to bring my sketch pad, I thought he'd have me work on the studies of the sculpture I want to make, not sketch with him, and in front of Oscar, sketching Oscar. Drawing is critical, Guillermo says. Many sculptors do not know this. Terrific. I follow him down the hall, portfolio in hand, stomach in turmoil. I spot Oscar's leather jacket hanging on a hook. Yes, I slip the orange into the pocket without Guillermo noticing. Guillermo opens one of the doors that line the hallway, flicks on the light. It's a jail cell of a room with a table and a couple of chairs. In one corner are bags of clay stacked on shelves. In the other, hunks of stone, all different colors and sizes. There's a shelf full of tools, only some familiar to me. He takes the portfolio case from me, unzips it, and opens it on the table. The thought of his eyes on my work is making my toes curl. He flips through quickly at first, photos of bowls in every size and various stages of development. Then the final photo of the piece is broken and glued together. His forehead creases in confusion more and more with each passing page. Then he comes to the blobs. It's the same, each blob whole and then all broken and glued together in the final photo. Why, he asks. I go with the truth. It's my mother. She breaks everything I make. Oh, no, I say, understanding what he's thinking. She's not mean or crazy or anything. She's dead. I see the earthquake in his expression, the concern for my safety, turn into concern for my sanity. Well, whatever. There's no other explanation. Okay, he says, adjusting. Why would your dead mother want to do this? She's mad at me. She's mad at you, he repeats. This is what you think. This is what I know, I say. Everyone in your family is very powerful. Your brother and you divide the world between you. Your mother come back to life to break your bowls. I shrug. The sculpture you have to make. Is it for your mother then? He asks. She's the one you mentioned yesterday. You think if you make this sculpture, she will not be mad at you anymore, and she will stop breaking your bowls. This is why you cry when you think I do not help you. Yes, I say. He strokes an imaginary beard, studying me for a very long time, then returns his attention to broken me blob number 6. Okay, but that is not the problem here. Your mother is not the problem. The best part, the most interesting part of this work, is the breaks. He touches the final photo with his index finger. The problem here is that you are not here. Some other girl make it all, maybe. I don't know. He looks at several more blobs. Well, he says. I glance up at him. I didn't realize he was waiting for a response. I don't know what to say. I resist the impulse to step back so I don't get swatted by his hands. I do not see the girl who climbed up my fire escape, who thinks spilled sugar will change her life, who believes she is in mortal danger because of a cat, who cries because I will not help her. I do not see the girl who told me she was as sad as me, who says her angry dead mother breaks her bowls. Where is that girl? That girl? His eyes are blazing into mine. Does he expect an answer? She is not making this work. She is not in this work. So why do you waste your time and everyone else's? He sure doesn't mince words. I take a breath. I don't know. That is obvious. He closes the portfolio. You will put that girl in the sculpture you make with me. Understand? I understand, I say, except I have no clue how to do that. Have I ever done it? Certainly haven't at CSA. I think about my sand sculptures, how hard I used to work to get them to look like they did in my head. Never getting it. But maybe that's why I was so afraid Mom wouldn't like them. He taps his hand on the case. I am not sure you are ready for stone. Clay's kind. It can do anything, though you do not know this yet. Stone can be stingy, ungenerous, like the unrequited lover. It will be more difficult for my mother to break it if it's in stone. Understanding crosses his face. She will not break the sculpture no matter what it is made of. You will have to trust me on that. You will learn to carve first on practice rock. Then together we will figure out the best material for the sculpture after I see the studies. Will it be of your mother? Yes. I don't usually do realistic, but then before I know I'm going to, I tell him. Sandy asked me if there was something I needed in this world that only my 2 hands could create. I swallow, meet his eyes. My mom, she was really beautiful. My dad used to say she could make trees bloom by just looking at them. Guillermo smiles. I go on. Every morning she used to stand on the deck, staring out at the water. The wind would stream through her hair. Her robe would billow behind her. It was like she was at the helm of a ship, you know? It was like she was steering us across the sky. Every day it was like that. Every day I thought that. The image is always somewhere in my mind. Always. Guillermo's listening so intently, and I'm thinking maybe he's the kind of man who makes all the walls in people fall down too. Not just rooms, because like yesterday, I want to tell him more. I've tried everything to get through her, Guillermo. Absolutely everything. I have this weird book and I scour it for ideas nonstop. I've done it all. I slept with her jewelry under my pillow. I've stood on the beach at midnight holding a picture of the 2 of us to a blue moon. I've written letters to her and put them in her coat pockets in red mailboxes. I've thrown messages into storms. I recite her favorite poems to her every night before I go to bed, and all she does is break what I make. That's how angry she is. I've started to sweat. It would kill me if she broke this. My lips are trembling. Covering my mouth, I add, it's the one thing I have. He puts a hand on my shoulder. I can't believe how much I want him to hug me. She will not break, he says gently. I promise you. You will make it. You will have this. I will help you. And CJ, this is the girl you need to let into your artwork. I nod. Then he walks over to this shelf, grabs some charcoal. Now we draw. Unbelievably, I'd forgotten about Oscar naked in the next room. Okay, so in the next part, we might be able to maybe finish a little more of Jude's part. So that's it.